Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into one of the most absolutely crucial, yet honestly totally misunderstood architectural challenges in modern business. We're talking about connecting your front office sales platform to your back office financial system. Now, think about your CRM for a second, something like Salesforce. It's kind of like this bustling dynamic city, right? It's built for speed, flexibility, and constant negotiation. But then you've got your ERP, like NetSuite, and that is a highly secure, heavily guarded fortress. It's all about absolute compliance, strict rules, and immutable records. So, the big puzzle we're solving today is how exactly do we architect a secure, automated bridge between this chaotic, flexible city and this incredibly rigid fortress?
And this brings us to a massive pain point for pretty much any growing business. It's a question you really need to be asking yourself. Why do most enterprise billing platforms actually fail? I mean, when a company tries to scale up their subscription billing, or maybe they're trying to manage some really complex, usage-based pricing and revenue recognition, why does the whole system just break down? Now, you might think, oh, it's the software, but the truth? It's actually hidden deep in the architecture.
Okay, let's dive into this. As our source material perfectly highlights, most billing automation failures are not platform failures, they are integration failures. Basically, the billing software itself, whether it's handling tiered pricing, usage limits, or whatever complex subscriptions you throw at it, is usually configured perfectly fine. The real failure? It happens right there in the data connection between the systems. Contract data leaves Salesforce, but maybe it's missing a crucial field, or it gets rated accurately, but then hits the completely wrong general ledger code over in NetSuite. The root cause is literally almost always a broken bridge.
So here is our architectural blueprint for today. We're going to start with the disconnect, move on to guarding the gate, look at an event-driven sync, map out a data dictionary, and finally, secure the fortress. Let's build this thing.
Starting off with Section 1, the disconnect, CRM versus ERP.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Before we can even think about building the bridge, we really have to understand the structural misalignment here. Because frankly, they were built to do two completely opposing things. On one hand, your CRM's configure price quote system, the CPQ, is this wild, agile sales environment. Sales teams absolutely need that flexibility, right? They're constantly negotiating custom terms, midterm rate locks, unique discounts just to win those big enterprise deals. But on the flip side, your ERP is built for strict compliance and standardized schemas. It houses an immutable general ledger. It literally cannot just accept a custom rule just because a sales rep promised it to a client. So, forcing a legacy billing engine to just blindly ingest highly customized, completely unstructured sales data, that is exactly where the sync logic completely falls apart.
Moving on to Section 2, guarding the gate with CPQ validations.
Okay, so we know unstructured sales data will absolutely crash the ERP. That means we have to stop it before it even leaves the CRM. How? By putting some really strict validation guardrails right inside the CPQ system itself. And this brings up a super important concept known as the core triad. Think of this core triad as the absolute, uncompromising gatekeeper for order activation. If a sales rep tries to close a deal in Salesforce, the system literally will not allow the order to be activated unless these specific requirements are met, on every single product line. No exceptions.
So what exactly makes up this triad? Well, first, every single product absolutely must have a defined billing rule, a revenue recognition rule, and a tax rule. Plus, if a product is a recurring charge, the rep has to specify the billing frequency, like is it monthly, annually? If it's a usage-based charge, it has to be linked to a consumption schedule. Now you might be thinking, wow, why so strict? Well, because if a salesperson just forgets to define the revenue recognition field in Salesforce, that single tiny missing data point travels across the bridge and boom, it immediately causes an ASC 606 compliance audit failure over in NetSuite by guarding the gate or solving the problem right at the source.
All right, Section 3, event-driven sync, the real-time bridge.
Let's move to and see how this builds out in practice. With our compliant data fully secured, we are officially abandoning those risky, slow, nightly CSV batch uploads. We're trading them in for a real-time, event-driven API integration. Watch this timeline. At 0 seconds, the sales rep marks the opportunity as closed won. Instantly, at 1 second, a webhook fires. By 2 seconds, the billing schedule is already configured in the billing platform. And at exactly 3 seconds, the ERP is updated. I mean, it's an instantaneous succession.
Just compare that to a nightly batch process that silently breaks while everyone is sound asleep, leaving the finance team totally blind to the errors until they're scrambling at month end. A real-time sync ensures your CRM and ERP are perfectly matched literally at any given second.
Next up, Section 4, Data Dictionary, the translation checkpoint.
Now, even with a lightning-fast bridge, here's the reality. Salesforce and NetSuite speak completely different native languages. To make sure they actually understand each other, we have to use a mandatory integration data dictionary. Think of this checkpoint as the ultimate translator, turning the language of sales into the exact, precise language of finance. For example, when Salesforce sends over an account name, the middleware steps in to validate the address and tax jurisdiction before creating a customer record in NetSuite. Quote line SKUs, those are mapped directly to the ERP's product catalog to generate a sales order. And remember that vital CRM RevRec field we talked about a minute ago? That gets confirmed and translated directly into an Advanced Revenue Management or ARM schedule. This dictionary is a lifesaver because it prevents synchronization failures by making sure every single piece of data finds its exact correct home.
Finally, Section 5, the Fortress, protecting the general ledger.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is that we've finally reached the end of our data journey. The goal here is to protect the ultimate source of truth. Our data has been validated, translated, and synced in real time. But a truly well-architected stack demands a really clean separation of concerns. The CRM is step 1. It strictly owns the commercial relationship and the contract. The billing platform is step 2. It owns the execution, generating invoices, calculating usage, the whole shebang. And finally, the ERP is step 3. It totally owns the financial record and the ledger. With this flow, everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for.
So, the crucial point is that data absolutely must flow in one direction at each boundary. It goes from CRM to billing, then billing to ERP. You should never, ever have reverse data flows, like the ERP trying to write back to the billing system or billing trying to write back to the CRM. Creating those circular dependencies, that'll quickly turn your clean architecture into a chaotic web, making it absolutely impossible to debug when a massive sync failure inevitably happens at 2 a.m. on a Friday. And nobody wants that. One-way flow is the golden rule of enterprise architecture.
And why does this clean one-way flow matter so much? Well, because it builds a flawless, immutable digital paper trail. As our sources point out, this exact connectivity creates the audit trail for ASC 606 compliance. The billing platform actually acts as a subledger buffer. It takes all those high-volume, incredibly complex billing transactions from sales, processes them cleanly, and then passes only the summarized, perfectly compliant journal entries right into the ERP. It essentially acts as a shield, protecting the integrity of the general ledger. So when the auditors eventually come knocking, and they will, every single adjustment is timestamped, approved, and totally traceable.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty important thought to wrap up this explainer. I really want you to look closely at your own tech stack. Is your integration a seamless, real-time bridge guarded by strict validations? Or is it kind of a fragile bottleneck? Are you relying on manual spreadsheets and risky reverse data flows just waiting to break under the pressure of scaling up? Architecting this connection properly isn't just some back-office IT project. It's literally the foundation of your company's revenue growth. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I really hope this architectural blueprint helps you go out and build a stronger, much more secure system.